Hello, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, Julian?
Good. What's your name?
My name is Joseph Stokes.
Joseph. Where are you from?
I am from Los Angeles, California, in the United States.
And now you're here in Costa Rica.
I am indeed.
How long have you been here?
I came to Costa Rica for the first time, and the only time actually, back in January of this year, 2011.
Okay, now you're an expat in Costa Rica.
I am.
Good, good.
That's what they call us, expats, yes.
What do you do here?
Well, my main job, my big job is raising my family.
Wonderful.
Which is my 3-year-old son, and I have a fiancée, my soon-to-be wife, Ania, who is a teacher. She is from Costa Rica, and we met in the United States back in 2006.
Interesting, very interesting. So, what is your new hometown like?
Well, I live in Tuatal, and some people tend to correct my pronunciation of Tuatal, but it's a very green area. It rains a lot up there.
Nice.
Doesn't get very warm. The nights are cool, and the days are, at least right now, they're very mild. So I like it. There's a lot of coffee farms up there. A couple of small stores. There's not a lot of heavy business in the area, but I'd say most of the work are some small local businesses, and there's 2 or 3 at least large coffee farms up there.
Compared to where you come from, what would you say are the main differences?
With respect to the culture, respect to the business?
In general, yeah. You could refer to both.
Well, that's a short question that deserves a long answer, so I'll see what I can do. Well, in Los Angeles, the city of Los Angeles is huge. It's enormous. Southern California itself, which is the lower third part of California, is roughly the size of the entire country of Costa Rica.
Wow.
So the area I live in is called the San Fernando Valley, or I used to live in, excuse me.
What's the name?
It's called the San Fernando Valley. And that valley is probably, I would say, if you were to relate it to the size of San Jose, the San Fernando Valley, with its population and business, is probably 3 or 4 times the size of San Jose. Okay. It's a large area. It encompasses many communities. It encompasses quite a large variety of types of business. There's a large television industry there in part of the valley, in Glendale, Burbank area, where Disney Studios is, Warner Brothers Studios is. In the West Valley, where I grew up in, it was mostly orange groves until just recently, in the past 20 or 25 years, they have developed that more into residential area. But also in the southern part of the San Fernando Valley, there's an area called Studio City, and by its name you can get that there's some studios close by, and it's very close to Hollywood.
Nice.
But there's a diverse business population there, from industrial population, and many sorts of stores and types of malls. There's in the San Fernando Valley alone, I think there's 5, compared to what I've seen in Costa Rica, huge malls.
So it's much more developed.
It's much more developed. Internet was around back in the 90s in California.
Oh, really?
We've been using the internet probably widely since 1995, 94. We had America Online as our source for internet, I think as early as 1990, maybe even earlier than that.
Joe, you said before that you're married to a tica, right?
I'm engaged to.
You're engaged.
Yeah. It's as good as married.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay.
Have there been any difficulties? Because you come from a different culture, right? So those American and a Costa Rican decide to live together. Have there been any difficulties?
Well,
talking about cultural differences.
The cultural differences that I've seen in my relationship with Ania, she knew what to expect when we came to Costa Rica. She grew up in a very agricultural area of Costa Rica and didn't spend much time here in the cities of Alajuela and San Jose. So her knowledge of Costa Rica was mostly of the agricultural areas. R&all is where she went to grammar school. Culturally, though, her language, she learned English just by talking to the locals and working in America. She didn't go to school formally in California to learn English. So it took her many years to learn it. I see a lot of people here in Costa Rica learning English, for instance here in Central Cultural, going to formal institutions to learn English. Many of the immigrants that come from Latin America don't go to the schools and universities to learn English there. They learn it in their jobs while they're working. Many of them don't learn it at all. So there's a large language barrier there. The food, of course, is very different.
Is it?
Well, just to give you an example, when we came in January, I think I weighed close to 260 pounds. Here it is September, and I've lost, I think I'm in the area of like 220 pounds now. So I've lost 40 pounds. My diet is extremely different here.
What do you eat now?
Well,
what did you eat before?
Before, the typical American meal.
What's American meal?
Well, well, here in Costa Rica, for example, when you have meat, it's generally mixed in with the rice or with the beans or with something else.
Yes.
In America, it's a little bit different. We will have a portion of meat as part of the course, as part of the meal. In other words, we might have a piece of steak, or 2 or 3 pieces of chicken, or a piece of pork that's been cooked, or a piece of fish. It's a separate piece of meat that comes with perhaps a side of potatoes or beans, usually a vegetable, and they're all separate. Here, everything tends to be combined quite a bit. I've never had separate vegetables here. It's always been part of a rice dish or something else. So the food's quite different here. It's good.
So that's a good difference, because because of that difference, you lost weight.
I've lost a lot of weight.
Feel better now?
Well, I do feel a lot better. I can certainly, before I got around in a car, and here I'm having to get around on a bus, and a lot by.
How difficult is it to change? That change from driving to getting on the bus.
A few months before we came, I sold my car, and that allowed me to get used to taking the bus system in Los Angeles. And that was a rather easy transition. You can go online in Los Angeles and say, this is where I am and this is where I want to be, and the computer online will tell you how to get there, what buses to take, and when those buses will come. So you can sort of say, well, I won't go to the bus stop until 10:15 because the bus comes at 10:20, and I know I'll get at my destination at this time. Now in Costa Rica, it's similar in the sense that there's frequent buses and frequent stops, and just by having done it several times as I have here, you get to know that you'll be at work, by 7:45, as I usually am. You can do it similarly in America. You also have the tool of planning your trip online as far as getting point A to point B with regards to buses. There are fewer buses in Los Angeles because so many people do rely on their cars. And here, there's many cars, but also there's a large population of people that rely on the buses.
Yes, that's right. So Joe, do you feel at home here?
I do now. I attracted a lot of attention, I think, when I first came. When I first arrived in Costa Rica, I spent 3 months in Guatusa, a very agricultural area. Not many, if any, gringos, people from North America there. So people would always come up to me and talk to me, particularly those who knew English, and there weren't many. But if somebody knew English, they would make a point to let me know that they did, and they would speak to me.
Great.
But a lot of people also in that area of Alajuela, which is the northern part of Alajuela, it's a town that spends a lot of time on the farm. We work for farms, and it tends to be an older generation of people. And their language seems to be different, and their tolerance for the English language, especially my bad Spanish. You know, they couldn't understand what I was trying to say. I was trying to speak in Spanish. And I noticed that here in Alajuela and San Jose, and the areas just here in the central part of the country, people tend to be more tolerant to hearing me try to speak the Spanish that I do. And I think in those parts of the country, in more of the outlying areas of Costa Rica, there's less of a tolerance for that. People aren't used to having to listen to English. So.
Interesting. Let's see, what do you like and dislike about your new life here, generally speaking?
Well, in general,
yeah,
I like my new life here. It's in a different country, so it's an exciting experience for me. It's a new experience. I've enjoyed having to learn a new culture, having to learn how to eat. Not learning how to eat, that's probably the wrong word to say, but learning new food, learning how to prepare new food, learning how to communicate with new people. I've enjoyed all of that. It's been difficult to adjust to the climate difference. In California and Los Angeles, the climate tends to be much drier. And when I first came here, there seemed to be a large amount of humidity, particularly in Huatuso. It's a little bit milder here in Alajuela, but very humid in Huatuso. And that took a long time for me to get used to. I always had to have a fan running to keep me cool, and I've managed to learn to live without a fan now. So.
What do you miss, Joe?
There's a few amenities, I'll say, that I miss in California. Many of which are available here, but I just don't have the financial resources here in Costa Rica at the moment.
Mention a couple?
Well, sure. It wasn't until recently when I got an apartment where I had hot water in the shower. So for 6 months of my stay in Costa Rica, I was taking cold showers.
Wow. Was that hard?
It was hard to get used to. But once you know that that's what you have to do, you get in and do it, you do it quick, and you get out.
Yeah.
Now I've got a hot shower, you turn on the electric shower head.
What do they call it? Suicidal showers?
They call it suicide showers, yeah. I've heard that referred to before. But, and I've actually been electrocuted, and it's a brand new shower head in my shower.
Well, we all have those, Yes. I have one of those at home too.
But in California, hot and cold running water is required in every bathroom and in every kitchen. Running hot water, there's a huge tank that sits outside the door, or sits outside the house, that's hot water. The water's heated 24 hours a day. So you always have hot water on tap, whether you're in the bathroom to take a shower or wash your hands, to do laundry, or to wash dishes in the kitchen.
Oh, fantastic. So, Joe, thank you very much for your time, and I know you're a very busy teacher here at Centro Cultural, so thank you.
Thank you, Giovanni.